If you're a fan of the macabre or just want some cool Halloween photos, this video is for you. In this video, we'll learn how to create haunting images. We'll explore abandoned places, moody scenes, and creative techniques. Drop any questions in the comments or reach out through my website, bdphotographs.com. Alright, get ready for a dark adventure. Urban exploration, or urbex, is a general term which refers to the exploration of abandoned or forbidden places. Keep in mind, many abandoned places are private property, and exploring them is both illegal and dangerous. For our photo shoot today, we've got legal permission to enter and photograph an abandoned theater. Having permission to be there means we don't have to worry about being arrested, but there are plenty of other hazards. Broken glass, sharp metal, loose wires, unstable floors, unstable ceilings, bad air, mold, asbestos, rodents, and squatters. If you're not completely discouraged by now, let's go inside. The first thing we'll notice is how dark it is in here. That's because no one's paid the electric bill in years. This means that we'll need a tripod to take long exposures using ambient light. I don't recommend flash photography. It can be very distracting and usually looks bad unless you're photographing a model. We'll wait a few minutes to let our eyes adjust to the darkness, and then we'll use a headlamp to find our way around. My favorite lens for architecture is a wide-angle tilt-shift lens. Now you might be saying, can't I just use a standard wide-angle lens? And you can, but I'm going to show you why a tilt-shift wide-angle lens is better. Here's our conventional wide-angle lens. We've got our lens positioned straight and perpendicular to the ground. We're going to tilt it up to get the building in frame. Look how distorted it becomes. It looks terrible. Now let's take our tilt-shift wide-angle lens. As we shift up, we're able to capture the building in frame while keeping the vertical lines straight. Let's get back to our abandoned theater. We're in the main auditorium and we're going to set up on stage to get a wide shot. There's so many compositions we can try here, but the most obvious one is also the one I'd recommend against. Resist the temptation to shoot straight down the center unless you're really trying to showcase symmetry. A more interesting composition is to set up from the side, where we've got the details of the balcony in the foreground. Now let's go upstairs to check out another room. There's a lot more natural light up here, so we have to be careful not to overexpose our image. Once again, we want to avoid putting our subject in the center of the frame. Now we're going to explore beyond architecture. Abandoned railroads, junkyards, shipwrecks make great subjects, especially when they're relatively well preserved. In these places, the greatest photographic challenge is in composition. It can be difficult to compose with a large subject such as a locomotive or a ship. Look for natural elements like moss, ivy, or fog to help set the mood. It's best to go in the early morning to increase the likelihood of fog. If you're looking for something more macabre, a cemetery or ossuary is a great setting. Tombstone tourists are very much a thing. There are nearly as many annual visitors to the Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris as there are to the Empire State Building. There are also great cemeteries in London, New Orleans, Mexico, and Eastern Europe, but you probably don't have to travel too far to find a good one. For a photogenic graveyard, older is generally better. Modern cemeteries are largely symmetrical and more open. It's the older ones that tend to have more character because of the trees and variety of headstones, not to mention the history. Marble headstones are usually more weathered and old-looking, sometimes to the point of being illegible. In all cases, be respectful and don't touch the grave sites. This shot was taken at London's Highgate Cemetery on a sunny afternoon. With some creativity and compositing, the end result is quite different. If abandoned places or graveyards aren't your thing, you can get some great shots with existing homes and a little creativity. Look for Victorian Gothic or Queen Anne style homes. You'll recognize them when you see them. Occasionally you might stumble on a very famous home. Pulling back on color or going full grayscale is a great way to set mood in your images. You can also composite different elements to tell a story. Just remember, a good grayscale image is more than just a desaturated color photo. It's critical to edit the contrast to brighten highlights and darken shadows. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's adventure. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on Instagram. Thanks for watching.